All right, welcome to part 5 of the Building Better Athlete series. Today, we're going to talk all about nutrition. Part 1 was about how to become a standout athlete. Part 2 was all about speed and how to get faster, how to get more explosive. Part 3 was all about building muscle. Part 4 was all about conditioning and energy sources. And today we talk about how to fuel those energy sources. Each one of those videos builds on the next, and this is going to be the thing that kind of wraps it up. How do you give yourself the energy to get bigger, faster, stronger, and perform on the field all at the same time? That's what we're going to talk about today. Being an athlete is an excuse to eat. This is basically what to eat, how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat it. This is not going to be as in-depth as it could. I'm going to give everybody kind of like a brief overview of how to eat and what to eat. And then if you want more in-depth, we do have an offer for you at the end that's really going to help jumpstart how you look at nutrition, how you implement nutrition, and how to make sure you are eating the right things. So let's get started. So nutrition is the game changer that you might have overlooked as an athlete. How you eat is how you perform and how you recover. You are only as good as your last meal, meaning if you had Cheerios for breakfast and have to go into your sport, you're obviously not going to perform as well as somebody who had eggs, bacon, toast, fruit, bowl of oatmeal. You need to fuel yourself for performance. So you're only as good as your last meal. Athletes do need a constant flow of calories in to recover and perform at their best. I'm no longer an athlete. I train athletes, but I still wear this little device called a Whoop band. And if you want to know what a Whoop band is, go ahead and look it up. But if you have any questions, let me know. I love this thing. I recommend it for all athletes so you can really get a good picture of how you are recovering. But the one thing it does is count calories and calories burned. And again, me not being an athlete anymore, I'm still burning upwards of 2,000 calories a day. I am very active still, don't get me wrong, but I'm not an athlete and I'm still burning over 2,000 calories a day. So that gives you a really good idea of what you should be eating because you need to fuel yourself for all the time. You cannot let yourself be hungry, be tired, or have your body craving energy that you don't actually provide it because you are not, your performance will suffer. The sad fact of the matter is we could write you the best training program in the world, but if your nutrition doesn't match it, it makes it very, very, very hard to see the results that you could have seen. This is going to be a breakdown of what you need to do as an athlete to make sure that you always have the energy. So there's a difference between athletes and everybody else because there is a lot of awful information out there, but all this awful information does not pertain to you, and I'm going to explain why. So athletes are constantly burning calories. Athletes are constantly breaking down their muscle. Athletes are in constant need of protein, glucose, and fats. Athletes' metabolisms are normally much faster than others, and athletes are always craving energy. Being an athlete is an excuse to eat. Now, this is the burning question. Well, what do I eat? First, I'm going to break down things called macronutrients. A macronutrient is anything with calories. There's 4 of them in the body. We're only going to talk about 3 of them today, and only 2 of them are energy sources. So, here are the 3 macronutrients. I'm sure you've heard of these. It's protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Protein is the only one that's not an energy source. So it doesn't matter how much protein you eat, that is not going to help you fuel yourself for the field, ice, or court. Okay, so protein builds and repairs muscle. It is not an energy source, and it should make up about 20 to 35% of your diet, depending on the needs of the sport. Carbohydrates is your body's #1 fuel source. It's broken down into something called glucose. It is stored in the muscles and the livers in order to provide energy to the body whenever it's needed. Specific organs such as your brain need glucose in order to function properly. And then this actually should make up about 50 to 65% of athletes' diet, depending on the needs of the sport. Carbs, this is important. Carbs don't make you fat. I know that is one thing that's all over the internet right now. Avoid carbs, they make you fat. They do not make you fat. Fat does not make you fat. What makes you fat is inactivity, which you do not have as an athlete, and overeating. That's the awful formula. Okay? If you do not do sports or you're not actively exercising, the more carbohydrates you eat, your body's just going to store as fat. But if you are actively exercising, your body's going to use those carbohydrates as a fuel source. Now, fats, that's macronutrient number 3. It's your body's secondary fuel source. So when you deplete your body of glycogen, which is the carbohydrates, then your body starts to burn fat. In order to make energy out of fat, it's a much slower, longer process that involves oxygen. Now, if you go into the video before this that talks about the energy system, we know that it's the ATP-CP system, the glycolytic energy system, and then the oxidative energy system. You have to deplete 2 other energy systems before you start burning fat. So this is not as important as people think, but you still need a good bit of them. So when you do deplete your first 2 energy systems, you have something to run off. Okay? So it's your body's secondary fuel source. It's stored all over the body and in the liver. Fat is not the enemy and should not be avoided. Again, fat does not make you fat. Inactivity, a sedentary lifestyle, which means inactivity and overeating, is what makes you fat. You do not have to worry about that as an athlete. Fats should make up about 20 to 35% of an athlete's diet, depending on your sport. Those who play sports like cross country or swimming definitely need higher fat diet because you will deplete that glycogen storage and use that oxidative system a lot more than somebody who plays a sport like hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, and so on. So, I'm gonna move my little head. Carbs are king. That's one thing you need to remember. Carbs are energy. Carbs do not make you fat. Carbs are the first thing your body wants after a workout. Yes, you heard that right. Your body wants carbohydrates more than it wants protein after a workout. And the reason for this is you have a window about 30 to 60 minutes to get protein in so it could digest it and get it ready for protein synthesis. However, the second you're done exercising, all your body wants to do is replace the energy stores that you just used. And that comes from carbohydrates, not protein. Okay? The less carbs you eat, the less energy you will have. The harder it will be to get a good night's sleep, and the harder it will be to perform at a high level. Carbs are king. Get your carbs in. Get your carbs in. Okay. There we go. As an athlete, though, we must be strategic. So you now know the macronutrients of protein, carbs, fat. Protein, not an energy source, used to repair. So the other fun thing is your body can't store protein, so it just uses it or loses it. So the more you get in, the more recovered you will be, and you don't have to worry about storing anything. Then you have carbs and fat, which are for energy. Now, this is why we need to be strategic. We need to focus on performance when the goal needs to be performance. And then we focus on body composition when the goal does not need to be performance. Now, what does that mean? It's in season versus off season. If you have a goal of gaining 20, 30 pounds of muscle, you can't do that in the off. You can't do that in the in season. You're burning too many calories, and that's what it comes down to. In order to build muscle, you have to bring in more calories than you burn so it can put it to good use. In the season, you simply do not have, you don't have the time to do it. In season, your goal needs to be performance, hands down. You want to maintain weight, maintain muscle mass, and maintain the progress you made during the off season. You can try to build muscle or cut, but the sad fact of the matter is, if you try to cut during the season, you're not going to have enough energy to play, and you are not going to be good. If you try to bulk during the season, you're going to slow yourself down because you have to overeat by thousands of calories a week because the fact if you're burning 4,000 calories a day because of the sport you play, you have to eat 3,500 calories on top of what you're burning per week in order to gain 1 pound of muscle. And again, I will have more in-depth videos on actually how to lose weight and how to actually build muscle, but for right now, that's what you need to know. In order to build 1 pound of muscle a week, you need to eat 3,500 calories more than you burn per week. If you want to lose 1 pound a week, you need to burn 2,500 more calories than you need to eat 2,500 calories less than you burn per week. it just doesn't make any sense to do the body composition goals during season. Your performance will suffer, your recovery will suffer, and you are not going to like the athlete you're becoming. So don't even worry about those during the in-season. No, my goal this off-season is to put on 10 pounds. It's to lose 10 pounds. But during the season, your goal needs to be able to perform at the best you can on the field. Off season is when you could get very goal specific because you do not have to worry about performance. This is where you lose weight or gain weight. The only time you don't have to worry about performance. So that's what I like about the off season. Everybody that starts with us, and you could go back to the very first video about how to become a standout athlete, and we break down exactly what we do with everybody in each phase. The very first phase is all body composition. The very first phase of the off season is body composition, and we do that because it gives you 10, 15, 20 pounds of new muscle, or it lets you lose that 5, 10, 15 pounds of fat. And then we have a new energy system or a new engine to make better through the rest of the performance. So, how to eat to perform. Gonna move my head again. How to eat to perform. You burn a ton of calories, so you have to eat a ton of calories. But foods must be rich in energy. So that's, for example, fruits, veggies, whole grains. Stuff like that is high in energy. So your body can put that to quick work. Diet needs to be made up of 50 to 65% of carbohydrates, depending on the sport. This can be anywhere between 5 to 12 grams per pound of body weight, depending on your sport. Again, if you play a sport that is very high in constant steady state cardio, like swimming or cross country, this will be on the upper end. If you do not play a sport that has that much cardio to it, it does not need to be that high, but this still needs to be at least 50% of your caloric intake throughout the week, throughout the day. An athlete also must eat enough protein to recover. So that means about 0.8 grams to about 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. One thing people will overlook whenever it comes to in-season is hydration. Hydration is key. Water is critical for an athlete because it keeps the muscles full. Just a 2% drop in water weight significantly reduces muscle strength, performance, and endurance. If you stay hydrated, you're gonna help your performance a ton. Think about it this way though. Let's say you're not hydrated, you're battling for position on either a ball or puck or whatever. The other person is hydrated, you have a 2% less likely chance of winning that battle. Over time, over 10, 15, 20 battles, you're getting outplayed this game, and it all came down to nutrition. So to recap, in order to perform, you need to make sure you're eating energy-rich foods. 50 to 65% of your calories in must be carbohydrates to make sure you're fueling yourself properly. Get enough protein to be able to recover, and then make sure you are hydrated. Now, why is this not working? I'm going to try to make this work. There we go. Now, how to eat to build the off season. Again, this is where we can get specific with goals. This is either the time to cut or the time to build. Cut just means burn more than you eat, and build means eat more than you burn. Easy as that. You need to focus on recovery though, whether you are building or you are cutting. Again, you cannot store protein as fat. So you need to eat about 1 gram to 1.4 grams per pound of body weight in order to make sure that you are recovering. No matter how bad you're cutting, this will make sure you at least are having the protein and the amino acids to rebuild what you're working. And don't forget the carbs. Again, I explained this in a different video, and it's the how to build muscle one. You still need carbs to burn to build muscle. Your muscles only get bigger in order to store more energy. Whenever you're using them a lot, they realize, oh, we need to store more energy here so you can use them. That's why they get bigger. However, if you're not giving yourself the energy to be stored, it has no reason to get bigger. So yes, protein is important. If you're trying to build muscle, you need to eat more carbohydrates. They get broken down as glycogen. Glycogen gets stored in the muscle. If the muscle needs more glycogen to be stored, it gets bigger. That's why that all breaks down. Now, the burning question. what should I be eating? Here's a basic breakdown of everything. We're gonna do this by macronutrients. So your carbohydrates, that's your fruit, your oatmeal, your starchy vegetables, which are like sweet and white potatoes, squash. Your non-starchy vegetables, which are like anything that's green, so broccoli, leafy greens, green beans, so on. Your whole grains or your breads or crackers, high fiber, non-sugary cereals, and then stuff like brown rice and pasta. Then for protein, there's two different categories for this: your meat and fish, which is poultry, fish, lean red meats. And then you have other things like whole eggs, Greek yogurt, milk, string cheese, hummus. As far as fats goes, you want healthy fats. So this is avocados, peanut butter, nuts and seeds, high fat fish like salmon, and then like olive or canola oils, healthy things that you can mix into the food. You'll make sure when you're cooking with oil, it's healthy, good oils from good sources. There's a lot of crap out there that could spark inflammation, and we don't want that. So this is one thing I get a lot is like, I need help with nutrition. Well, we created something for our athletes, and if those who are members of Durkin Sports Performance, we give free access to this, but we've now for the very first time open this up to the public. So how can we help right now? We understand that nutrition is the hardest part, so we developed something for our athletes that we are now launching to everyone, and it's called the Nutrition Portal. The Nutrition Portal is where we load everything for our athletes to actually teach them how to eat. This involves meal plans, eating out guides, supplement guides, and over 100+ videos of us explaining everything you need to know on how to build muscle, how to cut fat, and how to make sure you always have the energy to how to perform. We understand the life of an athlete is always on the road, so we have a massive series all built on fast food. We break down like I think 25 fast food restaurants and exactly what to look for and what to stay away from in every single fast food through our through our eating out guide and video breakdowns of everything. All those we like, all those we don't, and we found a way to make life exciting for you on the road through nutrition, and we give you the exact formula through the nutrition portal. We packed this thing with over $5,000 worth of value, and we are simply giving you access for this for just $12 a month. Comes out to 40 cents a day to learn exactly what you need to do to become an athlete, to eat like an athlete. And we are adding stuff to this every single week. We have recipes, we have how to meal prep, how to do all of this stuff to make sure that you always have the energy you need, how to build muscle, how to cut fat. We make sure that you have exactly what you need throughout school if you're still in it, if you're still in high school or middle school, how to fuel yourself throughout the day, little tips and tricks on what to bring to stuff into your locker to eat in between classes and so on. We have a school lunch guide in there so you could actually figure out, okay, I'm buying today, I have practice tonight, how exactly I should do this. We also have a bunch of different meal plans in there, like our performance meal plan. We have a challenge meal plan that if you're like, hey, I need to get disciplined, this is how you get disciplined. We have a weight gain, like how to build muscle meal plan, and how to lose weight meal plan. We have all this for you to just take and use to your disposal. So there's no more thinking. There's no more Googling. We have done all the work for you. And then we have videos explaining everything we've done to get this information to you so you know it's coming from a good source. So this is our offer to you to get everything we have in that portal for just $12 a month. Go to the link that's connected to this video and use the code VIP50. That is VIP50 for 50% off for your first month. So test it out for a month for $6. If you don't like it, cancel. No hard feelings. We understand. But this does have a ton of information for you to use so you can dissect exactly what you're doing right, exactly what you're doing wrong, and really get to the bottom of where your problems are and fix everything. You are only as good as your last meal, and this portal is how to make sure that every single meal you eat is exactly what it needs to be to fuel yourself, to build muscle, to make sure you're not keeping fat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help. And again, if you're interested in training with us, simply either reply to this email, go to durkinsportsperformance.com and click on Get Started, fill out the quick form, and we'll be in contact within 24 hours to get you guys rolling. So thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we will talk to you soon.